Well, hello there, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Two Sons Podcast. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. If you're joining us for second, third, fourth, fifth, 27th, whatever time it is, welcome back. I apologize for not being in the last episode. I know you all missed me very much, but you got to experience the wonderful tone of my brother for however long, many minutes it was. But as per usual, we are back, and I am joined by my wonderful co-host, the wonderful Philip Chacho.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And today we have another very exciting and interesting episode for you guys. So we were trying to figure out what exactly we wanted to do today, and we're not, both of us aren't caught up on Guardians, but we'll get to that later on in the episode. So I decided that we should do something again relating to maybe a list or something like that. So we have landed on, we are going to be hopping back into the DC area, and we are going to be talking about Rotten Tomatoes ranking of all the DC Universe's movies. So this is going to include every DC Universe movie that has come out since, I believe, 2013. 2013 looks like it's the first one on this list. Up until present day, the three on this list are currently not ranked, are the ones that are going to be continuing to be coming out. But this includes a bunch of different projects that we will get into later on. And we both think it's going to be a pretty exciting episode to get into. Um, so, I mean, before we start, we should probably do what my brother always does and ask how we're doing.
Right. Well, I couldn't ask that last episode because you weren't here. So
We're
I
still
told
going to
everybody
talk.
that you
Good
were.
talk.
I told everybody that you were doing well, and you had some things come up at work, and I assume if I sit here and ask you, oh Joey, how you doing today, and you'll be like, well, it's going.
Why don't you ask me and see what my answer is?
Okay. So Joey, tell me how you doing this evening.
Does that answer your question?
Not really. You just showed me a whole bag of ciabatta bread.
Yeah. I'm doing okay. If you guys don't know, I'm graduating in probably right now 14 days.
Yes, sir.
So I just went to go pick up my cap and gown today. What a thrilling experience it was. After 4 years of being at a university, all they give you is free water and plain Lay's potato chips, and have you sign a piece of paper to pick up your cap and gown that you still got to pay for. But other than that, it's fine. I had some pretty good halal food for lunch though, so that's always good.
Ooh.
But other than that, doing okay. I just, had the pleasure of watching Guardians the other day. I actually did a showing for myself at work. So it's just me in the theater because I really didn't want to be around people. So I started it, I think, 1:30 in the morning after like everybody left work. My manager showed me how to do it, and then I watched it, and I think it ended around like 3:45 in the morning. And man, if you guys haven't seen it, I highly suggest going to see it. But it's very sad. I cried like several times throughout the film, and luckily I was able to talk to myself because nobody else was in the theater. But fantastic, and I'm gonna come out swinging with a couple of things regarding Guardians probably in the next couple of episodes, especially after my brother sees it, because I think there's like at least three episodes I would like to do on Guardians in general. I mean, one being, the most recent film that is over there. That way. That way. Over
You have
there.
such like terrible coordination. Like, how hard is it to point over
No,
your
I knew it. I
shoulder?
knew it was that way because I was thinking in my head, like, oh, which way on camera is my hand gonna go? But you
You
guys
got
can
you
see it
gotta take your
that
your
way.
left. You gotta take your
That way.
left finger. And you gotta point it over your right shoulder.
That way.
There you go. That was better. Yep.
That
Perfect.
way. That way. Yeah.
Perfect. There you go.
So, but yeah, same old stuff. Trying to get a new job, but what else is new? This is where you talk.
Well, this is the part where you ask me how I'm doing.
How are you doing, Philip?
Oh well, thank you for asking, Joey.
Yeah.
I'm doing pretty good. I'm still enjoying my little quasi break. In between semesters, I go back to
Oh
school.
yeah, I forgot you're out of school.
Yeah, I go back to school next Monday. So, I got a whole 2 weeks off. So that's nice. Work is going pretty good. Can't complain there. Picked up a couple of shifts, so making that money, doing what we're doing,
Money's good.
spending all that money. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
No, overall doing pretty good. Can't complain. So yeah, just trucking along, one day at a time. You know how it is.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. So we will probably structure this episode similar to how we've done all our other Rotten Tomatoes episodes. Yes.
Before we continue, I just want to say thank you for all the love and support you guys showed last episode. Our episode last week has like almost like 50 views on YouTube. So thank you everybody for coming out to watch and listen.
Break.
So far, it's like our most popular episode on YouTube, which is nice. So just continue to keep checking out the YouTube and every week for the videos that we post. But I just want to give a quick shout out, just to say I love you guys and thank you for the support on the episode.
Very cool, very cool. Yes. And this is very exciting because we are nearing 50 episodes. We still have like about 9 to go after this one, but I believe with this episode we will I think with this episode we'll hit 42 episodes. I have to go back and look. But we are, getting up there, and our viewership actually keeps growing on older episodes, which I really love to see.
Oh,
That
very
people
nice.
either
I think it's a
what's the word?
combination of people like discovering us, I mean, especially since, we opened up a TikTok and like a YouTube channel. Like, I think people are going to start checking us out and they're going to be watching the older episodes. And it might just be people that, have been fans for a while and they just want to look at some of our content from when we first started. But, hey, a view's a view, a fan's a fan. So, we appreciate all the love and support. It's always nice to see, especially the older episodes grow and stuff like that, because when we first started, we were, pretty rusty and we had no idea what we were doing. So it's nice that the older episodes get some love.
Yeah, it's very nice to see that. I mean, a lot of our older episodes were definitely different in terms of movie reviews and stuff, but I feel like that was easier to do when we started around COVID because it wasn't difficult to see the movies because you weren't as busy or you were able to stream it because of things. And fun fact, apparently I actually saw the other day, like whoever I guess makes the decision, they officially declared COVID-19 like the pandemic like over. Like I guess technically it was still like going on, like and featured as a pandemic, but like now it's like over, which is crazy considering that it was like over 3 years. And going back to when we started this podcast around when COVID was a thing, because it gave us the time to do so. So, and we've spoken about COVID and the theaters, on this podcast a couple of times. So it's very, very interesting stuff going on out there. But yeah, this is going to be structured similar to how we structure all our other Rotten Tomato or list episodes. We're going to go from bottom to top. And each of us will go one by one and we'll talk about where it's ranked on the list and give our opinions. I mean, we could say whether or not we agree with Rotten Tomatoes or not. But I just want to 1, 2, 3, 4. I miscounted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So there are only 14 DC films on this list. As you guys know, obviously they're not nearly as big as Marvel right now, but actually, I think in the next coming years, they will dethrone Marvel in a sense of hype and stuff that's coming out, especially with what James Gunn just showed us with the last Guardians film. So very promising stuff right there. And again, we got to show love to DC because I think DC is, obviously another wonderful universe to get into. Unfortunately, they are, they didn't come out swinging like Marvel did and, didn't land on the right foot and they're still kind of using their tricycle. But in recent years, they've definitely they've definitely started to take off those wheels. So excited for the future of it. But if we got anything else going on, you want to jump right in?
Yeah. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
All right. Just letting you guys know, there are 3 projects on this list that I don't know why they're on this list, but they're not out yet. Obviously, as you guys know, Blue Beetle, The Flash, and Aquaman and Lost Kingdom. Those are all coming out in 2023, but they obviously have no ratings or anything yet because they're not coming out yet. The closest one coming out will be The Flash in June. Blue Beetle in August, I believe it is, and then Aquaman, I think, is next November or something. So we still got that to look forward to. But officially starting on this list, coming in at number 14, we have the original Suicide Squad that came out in 2016, ranking at a 26% Rotten Tomatoes, with a 58% audience score. So I mean, this movie is a movie. Um, Personally,
It's a
I think
great
both
way
of
to
us.
put it. Great way to put it.
uh, Personally, I think it is. I can rewatch it, and I think there are some fun parts here and there. I do think the music in it is great. I feel like there's a lot of songs in there that when I think of it, I think of the movie. As you guys know, this actually introduced Jared Leto as the Joker, which I think was the only other Joker portrayal we got in live action since um, Heath Ledger's. I don't know if the one from Gotham. I don't know if that guy. I don't know if Gotham was going on before that or after that. That would technically be the only other one that I know of. Obviously there was animated and stuff, but this is where we see a new version of the Joker. This is where we get introduced to our Harley Quinn that is still going. That she is still currently playing her, Margot Robbie, which is one of the best parts to come out of that movie, along with Joel Kidman, who plays Rick Flag. In this movie, he wasn't as good as he was in the second one, but it's nice that we got him introduced in there. And then honestly, I feel like it was made out of a couple of cool characters. One of the most enjoyable ones that obviously we don't see in any other projects because he's dies in it is what's his name, Diablo, I think they call him, or
I think so.
the
I know who
yeah,
you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, he's probably one of the most enjoyable characters in that film. We also see Will Smith as Deadshot in that, which again he's a gunman, shooter, whatever you want to call him. Uh, you know, Kind of like another Deathstroke character. We do see a little bit of Ben Affleck's Batman in it, but not much. And again, Jared Leto's Joker was a interesting twist on the Joker. I know it definitely was not received well. Definitely not my favorite version of it. But at the time this came out, I was not thinking much about that. It just seemed like a cool little action flick to kind of just sit there, turn your brain off, and watch. Is it the best? No. Does it have a good villain? Not really. Generic with Enchantress. But I mean, kind of a cool concept. But unfortunately, I think they again tripped on the way into making this. Um, but I mean, again, nothing special, nothing crazy. I see why it's at the bottom of this list. I would keep it towards the bottom of this list, if not where it is. Um, do I think it's deserving of a little more rating? Probably not. I would keep it rotten most likely. The audience score I feel like makes sense. It would be kind of rare to see it go up in the 60s for the audience score at least. But I feel like some people can go back and rewatch this movie. But I'm not surprised it's here. So I feel like this is a pretty good rating for this film.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, basically, the first Suicide Squad was pretty much like, what if we took the Avengers and we gave them a ton of crack, and then we sent them out on a mission. So it had a lot of comedic value going for it. It was a little bit like darker in the sense of like a superhero team. Because I mean, the Avengers is like relatively PG. I mean, they fight monsters and aliens and stuff like that. But I feel like the Suicide Squad. I mean, they literally have the word suicide in their name, so it's like it's a darker premise on like what it means to be like a superhero team,
Yeah.
and that's kind of like the whole message behind the story. Basically, this group of specially enhanced individuals are performing a mission and they are saving lives and they're saving the world, but they're not considered superheroes. So nobody's ever going to give them credit. Nobody's ever going to know what they did. So it's just kind of like I guess, a deeper look into like how maybe people might view, so-called superheroes. And I mean, again, you can kind of argue the same thing for the adaptation. uh, I forgot. Was it done by James Gunn?
Yes, it's basically just James Gunn's Suicide Squad.
Right. And I mean, you can see the same premise in that movie too. Like again, like it was the Suicide Squad, and they defeated the main antagonist, and again, people will like never know who these people were, and so, but overall, I think the ranking is pretty solid. The audience score is fair. You have a lot of people that enjoyed it, and you had some people that just didn't like it. And as it goes critically, I mean, I can see why it's obviously rotten and why it was rated so low. That's going to be very interesting because unfortunately, a lot of this list, I feel like half the projects are like almost rotten. So it's going to be interesting to think like how the critics were analyzing it and what made them, make that decision. But overall, no, I mean it's pretty fair score. I mean, like I said, I personally liked it. It was a good movie. I mean, I'd watch it again if it came on TV, but I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it. So it's like it's kind of one of those movies.
Yeah. I gotta say one of the best parts about this film is the introduction of Viola Davis as Amanda Waller, because I feel like that's like that's I mean, she's not a good person, but it's a really good character that has still been featured in current DC movies. So again, I think they did well with the casting, but the direction they went in was just not it.
Mhm. I agree.
Yeah.
So taking the 13th spot on our list, we have Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice, which premiered in 2016, starring Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, and Amy Adams. If I remember correctly, Amy Adams was Lois Lane, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. The director is Zack Schneider. So when you now, I because for one, I didn't know that. I didn't know that Schneider directed this, but it's actually kind of surprising that this movie is so low considering how popular his version of the Justice League was.
you
Um,
know it's kind of funny too, because
hmm,
obviously the audience score isn't super high, but
right.
I
So
think
the audience score is currently at a 63%, and then critically, it is certified rotten and is at 29%. So we have a little bit of a boost, obviously from the original Suicide Squad. We have more of a boost in the audience score than we do with the critical score, but it is still very low down on the list. And I mean, I'm trying to take a look back because I mean it's been a while since I've seen some of these DC movies because obviously we're more Marvel and we focus more on Marvel. But it gave me very like Cold War era vibes where it's like you had these two camps, like Batman and Superman, and they were kind of like feeling each other out. They were trying to like, there was some like unknown hostility there. And I think it all stemmed from like Ben Affleck's Batman because he thought that like Superman could just run around and do whatever he wanted, and there was like no repercussions to the lives that he destroyed, or maybe the innocent people that he put in danger. So it was that like clash right there. I mean, it was kind of like Iron Man and Captain America. And we have, was it Lex Luthor behind the scenes?
yeah.
It was him, and he was kind of like playing both sides and getting them to basically initially fight, and I mean eventually it leads to them going at it for a little bit. And then from what I remember, I believe like Lex Luthor summons this like some sort of beast or something. And
It's it's what's his name? Not Abomination. Um I'll think of the name at some point. But it's like a I'm gonna look it up.
right. Well, while he's looking it up, I mean, regardless, so he ends up like, summoning this beast, and Superman and Batman kind of have to like put their differences aside to fight it. And then Wonder Woman comes out of nowhere, and then she's like kind of like, cut the shit, guys, like get your act together. And then I think that's it. Like I said, it's kind of hard to remember, but that's basically the sloppy summary of the movie. So I was never really a huge fan.
Doomsday.
What was the name?
Doomsday.
Ah, Doomsday. Okay.
See, I feel like one of the biggest problems with this film, and apparently there is a different cut of the film that people have watched, which they say definitely makes it better. I have not gotten my hands on that or watched it yet. I probably will at some point just to see. But the buildup, but of Ben Affleck's Batman and Henry Cavill Superman, fighting and having this conflict, it doesn't seem there. You know, like again, they probably interact once before they actually like fight. Um, okay, maybe that's a lie. I think they see each other at a party, and then there's one other scene where I remember Henry Cavill Superman like he just comes down and he like just basically like puts his foot on the Batmobile and like stops it, showing Batman that like, hey, like you're a bitch, like you're not getting past me, like kind of like asserting his dominance. But I get why Batman thought of the way he did,
Because
but
I think it stems from like in the very beginning. I think like the opening scene is, I think somebody close to Batman, or maybe I think he witnessed
it's like
the
his building getting destroyed by
right,
the fight that Superman had with Zod,
right,
and
with
like
the
his
Man of Steel,
employees like dying and all.
right.
So he's seeing like that's what he built, and I guess he's seeing these innocent people dying due to this. But like I feel like that's not a good enough reason for him to be like Superman's a menace, like kind of
Right.
like how
I was just about
Jameson
to
is
say,
in Spider-Man. It's just like Superman, like
right.
I don't think
I
that was
think
enough.
it's I think he had the initial reasoning behind it, but then I think
Yeah.
what fueled the rest of it was like his ego. Because then you have like, two like macho men like going at it and like seeing like who's, and it also shows you how like, within all these superhero fights and these like awesome battle scenes, that unfortunately there are civilian casualties that we just do not see because they never focus on that. So it was kind of a nice change of pace. And when I say nice, I mean, I don't, it's not like I'm like, oh yes, people dying.
It's
It's
just
more just like, it's nice to show like the broader aspects of the fights, because I mean again we see it from Ben Affleck's perspective. He's on the ground and he sees like the building crumbling, rubble falling and everything, and unfortunately people dying. And I mean that's the stuff that we don't see because we're always focused on the people that are fighting. So it was nice to see that like they acknowledge that like it's not all just like sunshines and rainbows. But I agree with you. I don't think there was enough tension there. And then I think that's where Lex Luthor obviously came in and he found the tension, and it kind of grew the animosity, between Batman and Superman more and more, which is when it eventually leads to their fight. And also, I'm not, as low as the movie is, their fight sequences, if I remember correctly, like between Batman and Superman were pretty good. I mean, I think there was one point where like Batman like almost like whooped his ass because like he like used like kryptonite against him. So like
I also
they did a
gotta
really good
say
job with those scenes at least.
that there's one scene in this because again, I wish Ben Affleck's Batman kind of got a little more screen time, but there's one scene in this like where I think it's towards the end where basically Ben Affleck his Batman goes to the warehouse to save Superman's mother, and he goes like berserk, and like this is where we see like the true strength and how his Batman is. Because again, with, like people like to argue how Ben Affleck's Batman kills when that's like something kind of crucial to Batman not really doing. But then you see apparently Zack Snyder's version of Superman is more evil than the one that James Gunn wants to do, where it's like more Superman legacy, peaceful. Him flying in the sky with a dog. Like
And fun
something,
fact,
something like that.
the reason why Batman was so keen on rescuing Superman's mother is because her name was also Martha.
Yes,
So that's
like
where the
his.
connection, that's where the connection lied there. So, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
like I said, I think it's fair. I think it's fair where it's at. I personally, for me, this film was okay. I mean, would I watch it again? No. The only reason why I would watch it is just to like refresh my memory and like maybe like analyze it deeper. But other than that, I wouldn't go out of my way and watch it. I just no, I don't know. It just wasn't there for me. I mean, like I said, I had some good things, but I'd rather watch Suicide Squad over Batman versus Superman.
I don't know if I agree with that, but okay.
Well, like, and again, when I say that,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
I'm not going out of my way to watch Suicide Squad, but if both of them came on TV and I had to choose which one to watch, I'd probably just watch Suicide Squad.
I feel like I would wait until the last half of Batman vs Superman and
Yeah,
then
right.
turn it on.
Just the
Because
last
also
30
Wonder Woman
minutes.
is in it at like some point towards the. I feel like they just threw in there and it's like Diana,
Right.
and
She just kind of came in and she's like, cut this macho crap, like get your stuff together. And then like, but doesn't if I'm not mistaken, doesn't Superman supposedly die in this movie?
Yeah.
And then is that
Like
what
with
leads to his what resurrection in Zack Snyder's Justice League?
Yeah, but it's also it's the same kind of, I believe, in the regular Justice League as well, but it's obviously different in Zack Snyder's version.
Right. Okay. So this probably takes place like event wise, like right before Justice League, so to speak.
So I feel like why this movie is also this way is because Civil War came out at the same time, and it was just a bad time for this to come out too,
Right.
because again, DC was
I mean,
still
you're
just
always gonna
starting.
have these like superhero, studios compete with each other, and like I said, it's just there just wasn't enough fire to compete with Civil War, especially if it did come out around the same time. Um, so yeah, but no, I mean overall, I agree with the placement. Um, so yeah, so
All right. So moving on to our 12th spot in this list, we have probably, I believe this is the most recent DC project, Black Adam. Actually, I lied. Second most recent DC project. We have Black Adam coming in at a 38% Rotten score, but surprisingly, an 88% audience score. So this is one of those ratings where we see a significant difference between the critics and the audience. Obviously, we know this stars Dwayne Johnson, Noah Centineo, Aldous Hodge, Pierce Brosnan, and so on and so forth. Um, Black Adam was, I feel like there was a good amount of hype surrounding it when it first came out, leading up to it. Obviously, as we know, The Rock promoted the hell out of this film. It was on his energy drinks. It was pretty much on anything he could get his face on, because we know he's probably one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, and he's The Rock. He's a little bit cocky, but I thought he was going in a good direction in the sense of this character in DC, because again, we see this as more of an anti-hero, not inherently good, not inherently bad. And I don't remember how long the film was. It didn't feel like a long film. It did not do as great as people thought at the box office, nor obviously with future plans, because as of right now, I don't think there's any future for Black Adam, um, or Dwayne Johnson in DC's future, which is a little disappointing because I actually would have liked to see a little more of him. Did I think it was the best movie? No, but I do enjoy watching it, and I actually would like to watch it again. I haven't watched it since it came out in theaters. Fun fact: that's actually around the time. That's actually when I became supervisor, about like a week before, because I remember literally opening weekend of Black Adam. We had no usher scheduled on a Saturday, so I came in and I ushered with my manager all night, and we had about 20 minutes break to eat, and we just went back to ushering. So yeah, but I mean, action. I thought the action was great. Again, I think Dwayne Johnson's portrayal is, pretty good for the character. I don't take it too serious, even though the character did seem serious at times. I did definitely feel that cockiness in a sense, that he had. But again, I get it. Background of the story. Man was a slave, and like he says, he was born a god. He's gonna kneel to no one. That's kind of cool because again, you have somebody that is essentially nothing, and then comes into this power, and he's this place that he's in is all he knows, and he's gonna stop at nothing to protect it. Um, the villain towards the end, I thought was kind of really didn't care for that. Pierce Brosnan was one of the best parts of the movie as well. I thought Doctor Fate was super cool. Unfortunately, it's sad that we won't see more of him. And I thought what was it called? The Justice Society, I believe. I
yeah,
thought it was a cool concept. Again, Adam Smasher, kind of like another Ant-Man type character, kind of funny. Cyclone was cool. Wish we could have seen a little more of her. And Hawkman was also, there as well. Um, it's a little, some of the side characters are definitely forgetful, and it seems, kind of generic starting off point. And I don't think they got to where they wanted to be in terms of negotiations, whether it was with The Rock and DC or whatever it was. But I did enjoy it. and I would like to watch it again to really give more of an opinion on it. Um, do I agree with it being at a 38%? I would probably put it around high 40s, in my opinion. Um, Maybe 50s. I'm not so sure, but we'll see about that. Audience score, I feel like is kind of spot on because I feel like a lot of people do just enjoy this for the pure action of it, and The Rock, so that makes sense. But overall, it definitely was a little disappointing in what direction it could have went in. But for what we got, not bad.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think the audience score is pretty spot on. I personally enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty good movie. Critically, I can see why it's certified rotten. I think the main part of that was just because of Dwayne Johnson. I think there was a lot of controversy and a lot of struggle because I think he really wanted to cement himself like in the DC universe. Like he wanted to become like the next Superman. Like he wanted like the biggest part like in the story as possible. And they were just like, no, like, like that's not happening.
I mean,
Uh,
he kept on saying like this is like what he kept the hierarchy of the DC universe is like changing or some
right.
crap like that.
And I think although it was obviously nice of him to promote a movie with himself in it. I mean, because again, if he's in the movie, obviously he's going to promote it, to his
Yeah,
fans and everything. But I think it was overly hyped, and I think that's one of the reasons why it was so badly received because there's been countless superhero movies in the past where it's been like hyped up, and it came out, and then you're just like, what the hell is this? This is not what this is not what we signed up for. But
yeah,
no, I mean, I think looking at it from a you know critical perspective, I think Dwayne Johnson did a good job as Black Adam. I think the backstory of like how he gained the superpowers and everything, I thought was pretty cool. I mean, I enjoyed the story. I mean, the story was pretty straightforward, and it was a cool concept. And I do agree that like the supporting characters, the Justice Society, they were a little lacking, except for Doctor Fate, of course. Everybody else, again, I don't know which of these characters came out first, who stole off of who, but like you said, it's like Atom Smasher, practically Ant-Man. You got Cyclone basically being the chick from X-Men that kind of like
Born.
right, and then you have the Hawkman just basically being Sam Wilson's Falcon. Uh,
Yeah.
but then again, like I don't know which characters came out first, so I don't know who copied off of who. That classic scenario, it's like, oh hey dude, let me copy off your homework, and then they just changed it a little bit.
It's usually like half and half. Usually like
Right.
half of DC was first and then half of Marvel was first. And
But
then,
just overall, the side characters were kind of forgetful. I mean, I didn't mind them. I thought they brought some comedic value. Some of their powers were cool. And again, when it came to like, the main antagonist of the film, I was kind of for it like throughout the whole film. And then honestly, when he like kind of turned into like that demon type creature, like that's where I kind of lost it. Because like it was because it was weird. It's like you felt like he was defeated, and then after he was defeated, he's like, all right, we'll give you a second chance, and then he becomes like a demon, and then he gets his ass kicked a second time. So it's like I don't know. It's like I feel like when they defeated him the first time, I was like, all right, he's not too bad of a villain. And then when he basically went to the underworld and got new powers, and I was like, okay, this could be interesting. And then they just really I feel like they didn't really do anything with that. Like none of his abilities or powers were like super powerful. It seemed like once Black Adam was able to escape that prison and come back to the fight, that he was able to make pretty decent quick work of him. So,
yeah.
but no, I mean, overall, again, unfortunately, I could see where the critics were going with this, but it is nice to see that the audience did like it. It's like one of the first on the list so far that are like above like a 60% rating for the
Yeah,
audience
it's
score.
really well
Um,
received.
so it is nice, and it's always that classic debate on whether you trust the critics or you trust the audience. So it's nice to see that the audience showed us some love. But I think before we move on to the next movie, we are just running out of time for our first part. So I think we'll stop it here, and then everybody stay tuned for the second part of our wonderful conversation.
Okay.